Two worlds collide. "Now where is my suitcase?" said Henry, looking through his closet. "Here, darling, you can borrow one of mine," said Bridget, standing by the doorway. "Oh, thank you," said Henry. "Sure thing. Anything for my future husband," said Bridget, blushing and giggling. Henry says to Bridget, "Go wait for me outside with the others. I'll finish packing up faster if I'm alone." "Okay, but do not take too long, darling," says Bridget, still blushing. She went downstairs and left through the front door. As Henry began to pack his things for their family trip, he paused for a moment to think to himself, "Man, Bridget is a really sweet girl. She is honest, she is so loving, and not to mention beautiful. I feel like I am not worth her time, that she can do so much better than me and be with someone who is rich as her family is, instead of mine." As Henry starts to think more, frustration grows in him. Why would anyone fall in love with a guy whose family owns a farm and makes less than what they make in a week? Henry hears a honk from outside, which snaps him back to reality. He walks to the window and sees his family and Bridget's family waiting for him. Henry rushed to his suitcase and quickly packed things up. Henry runs downstairs to the front door, but before he can open it and leave, he just has to say goodbye to his farm animals. He walks to the back door and goes straight to the barnyard. "I do not care if I'm in a rush, poor, or a loser. I will always love my farm animal friends," says Henry to himself. Henry pushes the big barn door and starts to hear the animals making noise for him. He walks to the horse section, saying goodbye, walks in the goat section and says goodbye, then goes walking at the end of the barn where the smaller animals are, and personally his favorite ones. One section at the back of the barn is full of guinea pigs. Hearing them squeak and running to him always warms Henry's heart. He tries to say goodbye to each and every one, but there is no time, and he has to also say goodbye to the chicken section. As the time is running out before the family starts searching for Henry, he enters the chicken pen and all the chickens start to run towards him. Again, it warms his heart to be able to see and pet his small animals. However, to really end his goodbyes, Henry just has to see the big white rooster before leaving. Lo and behold, he finds the big white rooster. Henry always feels a connection with this rooster. He cannot explain it, but feels as if this rooster is like his mentor or something. To really tell that the rooster is special to Henry, he speaks to him. Henry says to the rooster, "I will be back. I'm going to miss you." He stares at the rooster, just admiring it, his red wattle, his white fluffed feathers, and just the way he walks. As Henry continued to stare, Bridget came to his thoughts, which made him snap out of staring. Henry got up and got ready to leave, but before leaving, he looked back at the rooster and said to him, "I do not hate Bridget, nor can I really say that I love her. But what do I have that makes her want me?" Henry leaves the chicken pen and exits out of the barn, then starts to rush to the cars at the front of the house. The two families have been on the road for 5 hours now. Each family is in a car with their own personal driver, paid by Bridget's father. However, Bridget is not in the car with her family. Instead, she wanted to be in Henry's family car, to be able to sit next to Henry. During the 5 hours of driving for Bridget, instead of talking and being all lovey-dovey to Henry, she fell asleep on his shoulder. It did not bother Henry anyways, but he was thinking a lot during her sleep. Henry turns his head to Bridget and thinks to himself, "She really is cute when is asleep, so peaceful, so calm." Even though we've been together for a while, well, more like she forced her way into my life, but who am I to complain? Look at her. She is beautiful. Henry stares back to the road and continues to think. It's still hard for me to believe that I have a girlfriend who is kind, gorgeous, and loving. Also, she is rich, and what do I have? Nothing. I have nothing to make her happy. I am worthless. Bridget starts to wake up and adjusts herself sitting down. She hugs Henry's arm and says to him, "Darling, I'm hungry. What do you want to eat?" Henry responds, Anything is good with me. Whatever it is, I'll join you. Bridget pulls out her cell phone and calls her dad. Father, Henry and I are hungry. Can we stop by a restaurant to have dinner? The father says, Sure thing, sweetheart. The two vehicles pulled up in a fancy Asian restaurant. To Henry's surprise, he thought they were going to eat through a drive-thru, not a 5-star walk-in restaurant. As both of the families walk into the place, Henry fears that he and his family might be an eyesore to everyone. The families were sat at a table and given chopsticks. Henry's family was puzzled as to why they were giving sticks. Bridget, being next to Henry, says to him giggling, They are called chopsticks. They are not sticks, if you were thinking that. All of this was new and a little too much for Henry. He just got to tell Bridget why is she with him. Bridget, can I tell you something? Says Henry. Bridget moves in closer to Henry. What is it, darling? Henry responds, a little frustrated. Can you tell me why you are with me? Why did you choose me? There are guys that asked you out before who are far better looking than me, would make you happier than I could, and way richer than I am. All I'm saying, what is it that I have that makes you want me? Bridget puts down her chopsticks slowly and leans real close to Henry, making him lean back a little. Bridget stares into his eyes and says softly, It's not what you have that makes me want you, but it is what I see in you that makes me want you.